Hi, my name is Judy Vorndran. I'm the tax partner on the Saltovation team at Taxops. I'm based out of Colorado, but I work with companies all over the world. I've been practicing this area for 28 years, going on 29. I started at the largest firms in the world, the big four, as we call them now. Pivoted to a regional firm and a small firm. I think back about my career, and we didn't have cell phones when I started. I showed up to a desktop, didn't even have a laptop, didn't have the internet until about 20 years ago, right? So in the beginning of my career, there was no internet. We were using paper files. We'd pull the files out, we'd look at the documents, we'd put papers in there, take papers out, whatever. And we had kind of a typewriter was our computer. And then of course we'd advise people on building carts and web pages. And build some functionality, we'd advise to build functionality around having tax calculations built into that protocol so that you could collect tax if you needed to be. And then, you've seen sales tax automation pivot exponentially in this space so that people can understand data and information that's being gathered in order to comply with a litany of rules and laws across our world. And so I've seen a lot of that because with the internet now, everybody's open for business. I'm open for business. I'm in Colorado, but I don't just have Colorado clients. I have clients all over the world. Everybody wants to sell to US consumers, and we have a wonderful market and a good rule of law. So people want our business. And so, but they don't always understand when they're dealing internationally, the difference between the federal treaties and the states. And the states do not follow federal treaties on everything. And they certainly don't follow treaties when it comes to sales tax. But we don't have a system that's set up to ingest non-social security numbers. So there's some problems in compliance. We want all the foreign money and the US money, but we don't always have a great mechanism to build that into our processes. So we try to build that out to our clients and speak to those issues with all clients of all shapes and sizes, beginning, medium size, well established, but don't have the infrastructure, for they didn't realize that they needed to do something, and kind of starting that process over. I think the Wayfair decision in 2018 was a pivotal, nationally recognized, internationally recognized law change at our Supreme Court level, but it really deals with one compartment of tax and not all the other litany of taxes that taxpayers need to be mindful of. And so I think a lot of people don't realize that you might get a sales tax license, but you might need to have a Secretary of State filing, or you might need to have payroll, or you might need to file a tax return there. Understanding your state tax footprint is imperative for any business selling to anybody, anywhere, right? So it's important to understand that, especially with Wayfair, but even before that, like how to people build a market. I think a lot of people don't even really know what the word nexus means. I think a lot of people understand Wayfair economic nexus now, but they don't realize that old style traditional physical presence nexus still exists side by side with economic presence, and then how that compares and contrasts with the concepts of permanent establishment and what a treaty will allow that sometimes nexus will not allow. So there is definitely a disparity between our federal laws and our state laws that people just are highly unaware of. I give this example of like not-for-profits. They think, oh, I'm a 501c3, but they may not be exempt at the state level for sales tax or use tax. They think they're federally exempt from income taxes, but not all taxes are exempted the same across the world, and certainly within the US states. And then what I find is a lot of people being inbound or outbound, they think this treaty covers them, and they don't recognize that that's actually not true from a state and local level. Not every state starts with the federal taxable income, treaty or not treaty. So you have to really look at those issues. And I think a lot of people want to be tax compliant from a sales tax perspective, but they fail to understand what giving your FEIN and information does to you at a state level, and all the other correspondence and tax compliance that would be required. I've actually given an analogy to some of our clients that the cost to have an employee out of state is $3,000 to $5,000 in annual tax compliance costs just to manage the duties in that particular state government. So I think there's a real misnomer of, buy automation, turn on the nexus, get all your sales tax license, file, and everything will just be hunky-dory. And that is by no stretch the case. There's a litany of other things that a lot of taxpayers are just unaware of.